Looking for some help to create your portfolio pages? Hello and welcome to Breakdowns, where we talk about portfolios, approaching art, design, and a bunch of different things. In this video, we'll talk a little bit about how you can create a portfolio page to present your short film gigs and a few things to keep in mind while doing the same. So this was a project that we worked on eons ago, early 2015, I want to say, where we had a short film competition within our organization. Basically, we had gone through a 3-day, 4-day workshop on filmmaking, understanding the nuances of script writing and a bunch of other things in general while approaching making films. And we had only 3 days from script to screen to close the entire thing. Of course, the org that I work in, being an educational company, the requirement was to make an educational short film. And we had about 6 to 7 teams, each with anywhere between 8 to 10 people, all hustling on a bunch of very, very cool short films, all within 3 days. And coming from, say, animation backgrounds and art backgrounds, a lot of these short films were fully animated as well. Not so much with what we did as a team. We created a live action short film, something based on the butterfly effect. And as we go through the portfolio page itself, we'll get a little bit more information about it. But yeah, that was just some early context about the short film itself. Of course, I worked on quite a few short films after as well, especially when the filmmaking bug really bit me hard. But through the years, as my interests also developed and I started moving a little away from film in general, I haven't really translated any of those short films into portfolio pages, except for this one. So let's have a real quick look. And if you think you haven't worked on short films enough and this may not be very helpful for you, then let me just step in over there and let you know that this particular framework that I'm going to show you is something that works for any gig. I've made videos in the past that talk about logo designs and video creation gigs and how you can present them in portfolios, which you can see in these videos. But the point being, when you see those, when you see this, there is a similar structure in general that has been adhered to and followed. So there could be a thing or two that you can pick for any portfolio page from this video. Alright, so let's get into the thick of things and have a look at it really quickly. So From Chaos Comes Order was the name of the film, and like I mentioned earlier, based on the butterfly effect, a little bit of visuals that just gives you a little bit of that vibe in general. A quick overview what exactly this short film was about. There's a little bit of information about the theme itself with respect to the butterfly angle, how the cycle of cause and effect creates balance and order from chaos in general, and also a little bit of information about the short film competition, the number of days, the number of team members, what was the time limit of the film itself, and just some more details around that basically. Then there's a good opportunity for you to show some snippets of your screenplay, especially if it's a short film, right? If it's something getting done anywhere between 3 to 7 minutes, then putting snippets of your short film makes a lot of sense. Of course, if it's much longer, if it's a feature film, in fact, then you'd rather stick to, say, the log line and some information of that sort. By the way, I intend to make a full-blown video on how to make pitch decks as well for feature film screenplays. And when that video is ready, it'll definitely be in the description box. But moving on with the portfolio page for short films itself, like I said, a little bit of a breakdown with respect to the scene and the screenplay associated with that. So here, as per our short film in general, we wanted to show how there could be a consequence of a very tiny event in one part of the world that can have some dramatic effect on some other part of the world. And that's kind of why, say scene 1 is a little bit about a situation in Finland, scene 2 being a little bit of a situation in Brazil, and then accordingly the colors and the palette also was decided in that sense, right? So as we break the entire shot down with its relevant corresponding screenplay snippet, you just kind of move into showing actual shots of the film itself. This is a good opportunity just to show some snapshots. In fact, you could even be putting GIFs or some quick video segments over here if there were some interesting scenes in your short film that you wanted to present. But I just kind of stuck to some snapshots in general just to give a little bit of an understanding of the vibe. And then the mood board, right? A mood board, of course, is just a collage of different images that you put together just so that you can give a little bit of an idea of the palette, the composition, and the general exploration that you want to do in your short film. So a little bit of the mood board itself for From Chaos Comes Order, right? It talks about how pollution in one part of the world can create dramatic effects somewhere else, which is why a section of the film has its grays just bleeding into the blues, like you can see in the palette over here. And then as we move to other parts of the world, like I mentioned, say with Finland, where something like pollution has an impact like pillared lights, northern pillar lights in Finland requires that kind of color palette with its teal, orange, and that kind of vibe. And then slowly from there, we move into, say, Brazil, where the northern lights have such an impact that it creates rainfall in other parts of the world, right? And here, of course, we're talking about a woody, a green type of vibe, which is why the palette looks something like that. And then just a tiny GIF, and right after which we get into the short film itself, right? Where, of course, you have made the entire portfolio page that describes your rationale behind creating this film. Now it's time to present the film itself. So let's just have a real quick look at the film itself, and excited to go down memory lane, I guess.
Everything happens for a reason. There is a cause for every effect. In fact, even the smallest of actions could snowball into a string of events with impacts of epic proportions. We may fall for the illusion that we decide our own fate, choose to be who we are.
So as you can see, like I described, we start with a situation in one part of the world, little bit of foreboding with the butterfly at the very beginning. And then something like pollution. Again, it being an educational film required us to kind of get some content out there, hence the motion graphics and texts that explain some concepts.
Which release gases like carbon dioxide have led to an enhanced greenhouse effect.
Things like this could at some point have a positive connotation in the world, and that's where we move to, say, a Sweden or a Finland, a Scandinavian country where we end up seeing the northern lights.
Super minute mirrors and reflect light rays to gift us nature's purest art.
And then from there, because of the evaporation and the water just kind of moving into gaseous state up there, through the water cycle in general, moves across to create rain.
Vapor that threaded the egg's surfaces across the world for 4 months and be welcomed to another gift that nature has to offer.
And then a final conversion and reveal of the butterfly effect itself, very in your face, spitting out that one function.
From chaos comes order.
Oh, those were some really special days. And of course, I don't want to be taking credit for the entire short film. Of course, it was a team of 10, 12 members who hustled really hard for 3 straight days. Some crazy teamwork collaboratively allowing us to actually make this film. And since it was a competition, there were a few awards as well given. And I think we won a couple, maybe best film, best production, because we closed it on time. And yeah, good experience. But more importantly, the takeaway over here is how to present short films in a portfolio page. So there you have it. A quick footnote, making portfolio pages in general could be a little tiresome. It could be a little bit of a pain. Nobody really wants to put in the effort of doing it, but it's very, very critical, especially if you're a small business, a design agency, a freelancer. Just keeping your work up to date constantly becomes very important, not just to show all the different projects that you worked on, but also to show the client your expertise, your experience, and just allows you to build on your credibility in general. I hope you found this video useful. If so, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Peace out. I'll see you in the next one.